The island of Sicily was exploited by the vicious Spanish rule. Viceroys and regional governors ruled Sicily, loyal only to the king for the benefit of Spain and to the detriment of Sicily. Inquisitors were responsible to the King of Spain and would undermine the rule of the viceroy. The Sicilian economy was booming. Agricultural production in Sicily increased. Wheat, silk, wine, but the taxation of exports was punitive. During the 17th century, Sicily's silk exports outstripped those of its already vast wheat exports. However, the high-ranking Spanish officials exported money away to Spain as quickly as the money could be made. To learn more about La Bella Sicilia, consider subscribing. Well-connected families were keen for their children to marry well, or join the clergy, or both. The church paid little or no tax and were above the law. While the church was powerful, the King of Spain made it his business to keep the influence of the Pope well away from Sicily. Unfortunately, the Spanish Inquisition moved into Sicily and as a result changed a previously cosmopolitan, multicultural society into a narrow-minded, intolerant Catholic society. The regional governors and Italian, Spanish aristocratic classes enjoyed the wealth of the Sicilian economy. They congregated to live a flamboyant lifestyle in Palermo, Catania and Messina. By contrast, the peasant farmers who worked for regional governors were overworked and suffered death from disease and hunger, while all around them the Sicilian economy boomed. Philip IV of Spain, his reign began from 1621, and this was at a time of economic crisis across Europe. His financial curbs proved unpopular in Sicily, fomenting unrest, which would later explode. As France began to overwhelm the Spanish Habsburgs, the more the Spanish squeezed Sicily for more resources. In 1624, a slave ship brought plague which struck Palermo. Malaria also returned. Finally, the island was becoming overwhelmed by political, economic and health crises. The Sicilian economy began to collapse. Bread rations were reduced in Palermo in 1644 at the time of a drought. Peasants flooded the cities looking for food and died of hunger and disease. The Palermo Revolt of 1647 caused a mass breakout from the prisons, and the city hall was set ablaze. The viceroy, lawless, promptly fled to Messina, accompanied by the aristocratic families. Further uprisings occurred in Sciacca, Catania, and some parts of the Italian mainland. Within months, Spanish troops had reasserted control, but the Sicilian people were still hungry and angry. Viceroys came and went after 1648, unable to resolve the need for food for the Sicilians and revenue for the Spanish garrison and the royal family. The viceroys embarked on a fire sale of assets to raise revenue, including selling off and mortgaging some towns. There was another outbreak of bubonic plague in 1658. Mount Etna erupted in 1669 and extensively damaged Catania. Up until now, Messina had rivaled Palermo due to its great commercial links and its military port. The Messina Revolution between 1672 and 1678 was triggered by the aristocratic classes trying to retain their privileges. In contrast, Palermo was trying to overturn Messina's immunity from taxation. Seeing an opportunity, Louis XIV, the French king, sent troops to help Messina in 1675 and no doubt undermine Spanish rule in Sicily. As the French troops arrived in Messina, the viceroy in Palermo was unable to raise troops. The aristocratic families had already switched allegiance to the French and had already left for Messina. By 1678, Messina was abandoned by the French. The wealthy families in Messina fled, fearing retribution and taking with them what they could. Looting broke out in Messina as it was retaken by the Spanish. As a result, Messina had lost its earlier privileges and entered a period of decline. The viceroy, Count Santisteban, was appointed in 1679 to exact taxes as a retribution from Messina for the economic collapse caused by the Messina Rebellion. He flattened Messina Town Hall, and any remaining wealth of the disappeared aristocratic families was seized. During this period, as well-connected Spanish families migrated to Sicily, the Sicilian poor based in the towns began to return to the countryside. They returned to new rural villages and estates. Unlike the towns and cities, the countryside remained lawless, and people had to find their own means of redress. Another foreign ruler, more injustice. Grit your teeth and say nothing. Omerta. Throughout this period, Sicily continued to suffer attacks from Barbary pirates, and the Spanish towers which lined the coastline were only a partial deterrent. So while there have been a number of negative consequences of the Spanish subjugation of Sicily, I was asked, so what are the benefits? Well, put it this way. As a result of the catastrophic earthquake in 1693, vast parts of Val di Noto were destroyed. This included Noto, Modica, Syracuse, Ragusa and Catania. From this natural disaster, the Spanish commissioned the subsequent rebuilding of Val di Noto, and the legacy was the distinctive architectural style which is now known as Sicilian Baroque, and for which Sicily now enjoys World Heritage status. If you see a group of old Sicilian men playing cards outside a coffee shop, a Spaniard will tell you they are actually playing with Spanish cards, not Sicilian cards. And finally, Sicily is enjoying a tourist boom, partly because of the writings of Camilleri and his character, Inspector Montalbano. But did you know that this character was based on the work of a Spanish writer whose name was Manuel Vázquez Montalbán?